Welcome to Truth, Money, and Freedom. Today is Sunday, March 3rd, 2019, and we have a special podcast for you this evening. Today I have the honor of welcoming I Am Vessel, L1978, and American Man 1967, who are all actually joining us to talk about 5G tonight. Now, I know this one's been going around for a while now, but it's high time we chime in on this. We're very fortunate to have a few people that have actually looked into this a little bit. And basically, if you don't mind, I'd like to start with you, Vessel. I'd like to start with, and by the way, thank you, Craig, for posting the pictures. If anyone wants to post a picture in the chat right now of a 5G tower, that'd be just great. But I'm going to start, Vessel. We're going to pretend that I don't know anything about 5G. So I know what 3G is because I have a cell phone, and I know what 4G is. And if I'm assuming that 5G is just an extension of that technology and taking it further and higher, would I be correct in that assumption?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay. So what would make 5G different then?
Oh, the thing about 5G is one thing, it works in shorter wavelengths than your normal 4G bands, what your Wi-Fi router runs off of. Most computers nowadays, they run off of that band. Your 5G is going to work on a shorter bandwidth, which means basically you're going to have more poles, more repeaters put on these poles and in your house to transmit that wave.
Okay. Does that mean, for instance, that wavelength of microwave radiation, that wavelength for the radio transmission, would be more powerful?
A lot more powerful, almost 100 times more powerful than what's going on now.
Okay. Well, that kind of worries me a little bit because, my basic understanding of cell phones is, a lot of people are concerned about holding these things up to their heads because they do have, I think it's zero point 0.3 watts of microwave power emanating from them at all times. I imagine the tower has to have more for 4G. With 5G, 100 times more powerful. Are you saying 100 times more powerful than 4G?
Yes, they're going to emit anywhere from 90 to 95 gigahertz out at a time.
90
This
to
is 90
95
million
gigahertz.
electromagnetic waves per second.
Okay, let me put this in perspective because kilowatts are basically how television stations broadcast, right? Did you just say gigawatts?
Gigahertz, I
Oh,
believe.
gigahertz. Okay, gotcha. All right.
That's the
Yes.
frequency of the signal, but what's the intensity?
The intensity, basically stick your head in a microwave and turn it on if you can close the door.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Once they admit all these weaponized towers, they can do basically whatever they want. And we'll get into that too, as far as AVS systems, what they use for law enforcement. There's a bunch of stuff that this 5G frequency towers can do. Basically, Death Tower.
Death Tower. As I'm driving around Vessel, I see these 5G towers going up in Springfield, Missouri. I've noticed they're lower to the ground and there's more antennas on them. Is there a reason for that?
Well, like I said earlier, they got to be closer. They got to be closer to the ground, and more are going to be in place at lower levels so they can travel, underneath trees, poles, that kind of thing.
Does that make it more
So
dangerous for humans?
well, absolutely. It's not above the atmosphere.
Hmm. So,
It's basically being admitted through you at all
Sounds
times.
inefficient. Why are people using these?
I would like to know the same question, honestly. The only thing I can come up with is on purpose. They're putting these up and knowing the consequences, and they're trying to hide the, you know, the biological effects on it. For one, what can happen with the cancer rates. I mean, everybody knows that your cell phone can cause cancer by now, but yet people still use their cell phone, put it up to their head. They're on their laptops all the time. So are they unaware of what these can cause? Are we not getting enough information out there for them, or do they just not care?
Yeah, good questions all. I'd like to thank Al for posting the pictures of the 5G towers. And that's the second picture down is the one that I
Mhm.
see most often in the Springfield, Missouri area. Um, s-
Yeah, and if I could just take a second and let you know, I'm not technically inclined. From a little south of Philadelphia, to the very northern part of Delaware, those are only a handful of the towers. A lot of them are hidden. And I mean, there's 20 at least on that short 30-minute ride. So just to let you know, they are going up, they are rolling out, and they're calling them fifth generation mobile, telecommunications. But I know for a fact that 5G is not fifth generation. It has zero to do with communications or faster broadband, more broadband width, or it has nothing to do with that. It was designed and developed as a weapon system, and it is the number one threat to all of humanity.
With
wow.
that statement, I'd like to take a poll real quick, if you don't mind, guys.
Sure.
How many of you think, with the bandwidth we have right now and our speeds right now, think that we need to go further and update our speeds faster? Or are you satisfied with what we have?
I,
I am.
I'm not
I
only
am.
I'm not only satisfied, but let me present that question a different way. There's no purpose in streaming faster to cell phones. I mean, what are you going to do?
I
Watch a
agree.
4K video on your cell phone? I mean,
Right.
I agree. I agree. Um, but also, if I could just, give you guys a friendly reminder, and to everyone that's listening, please do research, guys. This is not fifth generation wireless. They are saying that it is, but it is not. It is a weapons system. I know that that's hard for people to wrap their minds around, but what you just said, TC, just proves it. I mean, it's not going to be faster. It's not for that. And I think that's the biggest misconception, and it's very nefarious. What's
yep,
going on here?
yep, I think so too. Um, I, basically the 5G thing, we've been hearing about it for about 2 years, and what we've not heard so much about is the dangers. Now, I'm going to ask a specific question of Vessel, and I know that you can't answer for someone else, but I'm just curious. Trump recently put out a tweet very excited about 5G. He wants it all over the United States. In fact, he said, let's skip and go right to 6G. Um,
Yeah.
does he not know how dangerous this technology is, or do you believe maybe he doesn't care? Um, I'm
I
just.
think he doesn't care. He's well aware of what he's about to do.
You think so?
Or what he's doing.
Yeah. I mean, this is dangerous
I mean,
stuff.
if you're the president, what better way to control?
You know?
Um, uh, I mean, this is just my opinion. I saw that tweet. In fact, I brought it up with Mark Steele from Gateshead UK today. And those two tweets that our sitting president put out, I was astonished. Um, I don't know. Does he know? Can he know?
Can't
It
he?
seems as if he thinks it's what they're telling all of us. I'd like to think that he doesn't know, but like Vassal said, he's got to know, right?
As much as this man tweets, he gets the information from, I'm sure he gets the information that we're putting out there. One way or the other,
How
he'll
about
see it or hear about it. So I think he's
how
well
about
aware of it.
can I interject here for a minute?
Sure.
Yeah.
How about the fact that this technology is outlawed in Israel?
I didn't know
The
Yeah.
that.
only
Good
place it will
point.
be outlawed. And they're
Exactly.
the creators of it.
Right. But it's outlawed there. And not only that, but it's outlawed around the surrounding neighborhoods and areas of where the president lives.
That
And
is
Trump,
such a good point,
That's
American Man.
fascinating.
yeah,
Thank
and
Yeah,
Trump sets Israel up on a pedestal.
yes. Trump, when he pulled those troops out of Syria, it was 4 days after Benjamin Netanyahu asked him to do so. But American Man, that is such a good point. You will not find any 5G in Israel. In fact, there's warning labels on the fourth generation phones that they have. Yeah, so that's just amazing to me that you don't find that there, and you
Yeah.
won't.
Wow. So basically, we have. I happen to know because I read into it that this technology actually emanates from Israel. They're out. It's outlawed there. It's banned. It's not going to be in Israel. They're happy with 4G, and now I'm hearing that in Washington D.C. they're not going to carry the technology.
That's correct.
My God. Um, well, I'll tell you what. Craig put up Craig, thank you very much for all the posting you're doing. I'm looking at this document online, the effects on skin, the effects on eyes, the effects on the heart, now the immune
Yeah.
system, now on cell growth rates, effects on
Oh, yeah.
bacterial resistance, effects on plant health. This is an incredible document. I'll tell you what. Everything that I show in this podcast, I will link in the description section. But let's start talking about the effects on health. I mean, that's where this is really going anyway. Um,
Yes, it is.
there's my understanding is the wavelength this is traveling on and the power that's emanating from these towers is enough to literally split DNA, damage
Yeah,
DNA.
That's correct.
absolutely. And a lot of people don't realize that like autonomous cars use this, and the exposure, for someone taking a 10-minute drive, that's one thing. But these towers are emitting these hertz 24/7.
Hmm.
So there's no escaping it.
Okay, and apparently, and I'll ask Craig here. Craig, this apparently these frequencies are between the 53 and 78 gigahertz frequency here on the microwave band, and basically we're talking about effects of what it will do to cells, to immune systems, to the heart, cell growth rates, bacterial resistance, effects on plant health. I mean, do you see a reason why we need to have technology like this from an engineering standpoint at this frequency?
Supposedly, it's going to be faster bandwidth for internet applications on your phone.
So that's all.
Hmm.
Um,
So that's what they're selling it as, though, isn't it? It's faster internet.
right.
That's it.
But I'm thinking this frequency range is in the microwave spectrum. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And no longer in the radio wave spectrum.
That's correct. This is pure microwaves here.
Now the question is the duration and intensity to figure out the dose, and then
Well, they
maybe tabulate the expected health effects.
They say, Basil, isn't the gentleman, I'm not going to call him a gentleman, isn't his name, correct me if I'm wrong, his first name's Tom, is it Wheeler? He said that the head of this said that he's not going to waste time testing it. However, there have been tests done, and it's 0.01 hertz, I believe, or perhaps it is on the microwave spectrum, is unhealthy for a blade of grass. So, yeah, yeah.
They said it
So we're
themselves.
saying it's like 30 gigahertz. And okay, so yeah, apparently microwaves are between 300 megahertz and 300 gigahertz. So it's in that, it's in the microwave range.
It is.
Mhm.
But as
And
far as I have read up, these towers aren't going to be in that range. They're going to be above that range in the 90 gigahertz range.
Wow.
And yeah, the document that Craig had put on it says in parentheses that which 5G proposes to use, 53 to 78 gigahertz. But I think you're right. I've read enough documents saying that they were going all the way up to 90.
And
Yeah,
that's
it's all
ramping it up.
same order of magnitude. It's all in the microwave range.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And water molecules start moving around at that frequency.
Yep.
Yeah,
Really,
our bodies are 70%.
They start breaking down. Yes, your body is correct.
if your body is 70% water and it runs off electricity impulse itself, that's how the human heart beats.
Okay.
That's
Well,
correct.
I'm going to mention here on this document the effects on plant health. It actually says the effects of this level of microwave has on plants could leave us with food that's not safe to consume. So basically irradiating the food supply. Think GMO on steroids. This is pretty scary stuff, guys. And this is going up. Go ahead.
I believe that they're doing it on purpose, as well as we'll call it what they call it, the geoengineering, the weather modification, and all of the livestock that we have lost from that due to the fact that they have frozen to death over the past 2 months. I believe that it's, this is just my humbled opinion, part of Agenda 21, aka Agenda 30, Strong Cities Initiative, depopulation, eugenics, if you will, genocide.
Yep. It seems like that might be part of the plan. We talked earlier, Vessel, where you were mentioning about the mind control aspects of this. Now we've talked about the effects on health. I don't know if we need to go into the fact that it can cause heart attacks. Basically the effects on cell growth rates. Basically, let's talk about children for a second. I mean, where they're still growing. This could mutate cells and cause,
There's so many different things that. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no.
Yeah, there's so many different things this EMF frequency can do.
Yep, and
brain fog, headaches, children like you're talking about, in the womb still.
Yeah,
could possibly be getting this mutation. Something like that. Short-term memory loss, fatigues, ear ringing all the time.
Okay.
Nosebleeds, and in China, this is a fact. They make the women in China wear a kind of like what you would wear when you're getting an X-ray, but it's like an apron. They make them wear them in China because of the 5G there.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's a fact.
Okay. These things are going up in neighborhoods all over the United States. We're getting them here where I live. I mean, they're coming in. So now another aspect, like I talked before, where we started, basically mind control aspects of it. Apart from headaches and everything, is there a possibility they're maybe experimenting with, for instance, brain waves to affect mood, behavior? Make people feel euphoric, make them depressed? I mean, is this possible?
Possibility?
Well, I think they've already done that.
It's a fact. Voice to skull. I mean, they've done it. It's been speculated that, I mean, this is pure speculation, but one of the cars that ran off the road into the president's motorcade, it was suspected that it was used then, the voice to skull. It can definitely make you, and it's one and the same as the smart meters. It can definitely make you depressed, anxious. And when you're talking about voice to skull, it can make you hear things. I mean, this is a weapon. It's nothing short of a weapon.
Yeah, you also have your active denial systems. Have you guys ever heard of them?
No, I have not.
They're called AVS for short. These frequencies penetrate the top 3 layers of the skin. It's basically like a laser they shoot at you, and it penetrates the top 3 layers of your skin, causing itching. Just multiple different things, burning, and it can shoot even further than that if depending on the rate they set it at. But that's just the beginning of the top 3 layers. Imagine that, just a burning sensation all through your body where you drop.
And that is
And
the
these are military
brainchild
systems.
of Lockheed Martin. Yep, the military. That's the brainchild of Raytheon Corp and Lockheed Martin, which the military got. And they've been seen on the top of tanks. You can go to Lockheed Martin's website and see the active denial system, and what Vessel just said of the burning of the skin and all that. Yeah, yeah.
The voice of God's weapon, guys. We're leaving that out.
Oh, you are right.
There's a
Multiple
big part of
different
that,
things
right?
make you
There's
hear
it's
things that you didn't hear. Make you
right,
see things possible you didn't see because it's all in your head.
right,
MK Ultra type thing, you know, brain control.
right. I also want to
Just
point
so many
something out.
possibilities.
Yeah, something else I wanted to point out here. Here's the thing from what I've studied. They're saying that the military also needs this technology, but the military prior to World War II did scientific experiments and studies on this technology. They're very aware of what this type of technology will do to the human body, A, and B, they're trying to sell the private sector on this technology so much, saying that we need it. But how come on the other hand, they're always talking about an EMP should hit the United States of America and how the grid's going to go down. So to me, this whole thing doesn't make any sense.
That is such a good point, and they definitely do contradict one another. An EMP, they're building all this up, rolling all this out, but yet we're supposed to have this huge threat of an EMP. It definitely is a contradiction, on its face. That's a very good point.
What other applications? You just mentioned an EMP. Is it possible that this could be somehow designed or even already have the capability of providing an EMP to the local area where the towers are? Craig? And at these frequencies that they're designed to work at, is an EMP possible? Do you know?
Are you asking that if an EMP would affect the 5G network?
No. If the 5G network is
If these
capable of
networks could
producing
cause-
EMPs.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I would have to respectfully disagree. It's also been speculated that some of the California wildfires were started with the smart meters. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but it definitely seems like it could be a possibility. If it hasn't been done yet, it could be done.
Well, the electronics in the smart meter are sometimes shown to, basically because they're, a very, like a thin wire, like a fuse almost. And if a large amount of power tries to travel through it, it could just incinerate it and start a fire. So yeah, it's totally possible.
Right. That's where I was shooting for.
Yeah, only because of some sort of defect in the circuitry, though, or on the PC board, where it's creating some sort of short in the.
Well, they could purposely overcharge them smart meters as well.
Absolutely, they could do it on
Yeah,
purpose.
they could do that.
Yeah.
Do a Wi-Fi, right?
What about a wireless?
The fires in California, there's a whole different story, I think.
Right.
I was just bringing that up. Like I said, I don't know if they did use it, but talking with Mark Steele, who's a recognized expert in this field, he said it doesn't really matter if I get rid of my smart meter and get an analog unless everybody around me does it.
Yeah.
Because it could be used as a weapon. I'm not saying that it has been, but it potential is there.
I'm just saying it's known that they can go on fire, not necessarily for any malicious reason, but just because of some sort of defect.
Right.
How about a wireless mesh network across the country with this 5G system? The way they've essentially done with 4G, with that much power flowing through these things, what are the implications for that? Is there, certainly mind control. that tells me that they can actually do something nationwide all at the same time. But are there any other applications or implications that anyone can think of with a wireless mesh network traveling at these frequencies at this amount of power?
Watching you at all times, no matter what.
See, I had to start thinking about that, because what if they want to start putting, wireless cameras in remote locations? Basically.
Well, TC, they already do that. It's been explained to me that everything in the home, from smart, the Alexas or Googles, whatever, to smart toasters, these things can see through walls. Okay, these antennas have, I think, dialectic, or I know that I'm saying that word wrong. There's lenses on them, which can shoot with precision. I wish I could explain it better, but they can already see in your home.
Yeah,
That's
I believe that's
happening.
probably true. I don't know if you guys know this, but approximately 15 years ago, appliances were actually being fitted with microphones, and the microphones were going to actually be able to record any sounds that they heard and send it through the power lines, basically to someone. There were big stories about that. I know that sounds incredibly conspiratorial, but there were very big stories about that about 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, I
Well, with
remember
what you
hearing it.
just said, think about that. It's sending it as a frequency.
It sure is.
That's all sound is just a frequency, so it could travel through a power line.
So a giant surveillance network is something that we could add to the possible implications of this technology.
I have another idea that just popped into my head while you were talking, TC, and
Sure.
this is really scary. And this will sound very conspiratorial itself. After they get all these 5G towers up and they have this mesh or this net, as you were referring to, and they really want to take our guns away, who's to say they're not going to bring us all down? Because we know we outnumber our government.
Yeah.
All at the same time, they hit a switch, turn a dial, push a button. They want our guns. We're no longer capable to fight back, and they come in and they take them.
I suppose that would be a way to pacify large swaths of the population simultaneously for search and seizure operations. I never thought of that.
Yes.
That's a good thought, American man.
Well, not only that, what about the population that was supposed to decline by 2021?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By how many millions at one time?
Yeah, 2024 maybe. What's the name of that website again? I can't remember. Yeah, talking about population declines all over the planet.
Well, the Georgia Guidestone says 500 million. We're at 7 billion, aren't we?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know that it may sound to the lay person, or just to the average person, very conspiratorial, but there are facts to back this up, that this 5G network is part of the surveillance state that we live in. It is all about the powers that be data. It's all about gathering data. And AI is so advanced; it's learning at a rate that is just unfathomable. And I hadn't heard about what you said, TC, 10 or 15 years ago, but I do know for a fact that smart TVs and your computer and your telephones can start recording at any time. And there are huge and quantum computers that are, collecting data at a exponential rate every day.
And smart meters are going to tell them when you're using power, when you're home,
Yeah.
what your daily
Right.
habits are.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
Because
you're
they
right.
log your usage every couple minutes and then send out that data.
And in California, they put some kind of electronic radio frequency. They can come in and through Wi-Fi and find out how much water that you're using now, because they got one here at the house that I'm at, here where I live, and it's read
Yeah.
through Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that's linked to your water meter.
Yeah, I know it is.
Everything's all electronic now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Craig was saying, those smart meters, they can tell you gas, water, electric.
They can tell you how
Um,
many hours you're on your computer,
yeah.
how many hours you're flushing your toilet, taking a
Yeah.
shit, you name it.
And ultimately, they're going to, at the Davos meeting this year, and anybody can look it up. Ultimately, their goal is to, I mean, just look at AOC and her Green Deal. Ultimately, their goal
Yeah.
worldwide, if you're talking globally, is to control that, to have a kind of set amount for each person, which is just completely outlandish and not constitutional at all. But that is their goal. They spoke about it at Davos. They spoke about it at the G20 summit.
Yeah, we got to cut our resource consumption so the government can waste more.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. Right.
Right. Here in California, it's called SB 100. It's sustainable living, and they are already started building apartment complex or sustainable living units here in California, not too far within 40 miles of where I'm at. They're starting with the city of Ontario, California, where they're going to be retrofitting about, I think, a 7 to 8 square mile area in the center of Ontario, California, where they're just going to be plowing down old buildings and building new buildings and new sustainable living complexes there. And you're not going to be able to have any source of energy other than electricity, and that'll be brought in by solar. You're not to have any gas. You can't use any charcoal. You can't have a barbecuer on your porch. You're going to have electronic stove, a microwave, an electrical stove, and that's it.
American
Yeah.
Man, is this true? I've heard this. Have you heard this? And do you feel that this is true? That they're using like California kind of as a testing ground for all this
Yes.
stuff. Have you heard that? Yeah.
Yes,
Fact.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. And Estonia, they have 99% of their population. It's all Strong Cities Initiative. They all have the real ID with everything on that, the medical history, bank history, all that. And I think that's what they're going for worldwide. And it's just, I don't know what we could do about it, guys.
We got to fight
Stop
back because America's
California
too
and
busy
fight back.
sitting on their hands. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Vessel.
Fight back, yeah, what you said. Fight back, especially those in California. Stop being lazy in California and fight back. Get up and say something to your governor.
Yeah, burn down the town hall building where they keep all the tax records. Okay, and make sure you stone your tax collector. Right?
Yeah.
Do you guys remember last year the whole big 5G rollout in California, and they were mentioning they were going to start the testing of 5G in California?
Yeah.
I do.
And then all of a sudden, it was about the same time all this weird stuff starts happening with the fires and everything.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Testing.
They're not waiting. I mean, the main guy said, we're not waiting. This is I forget the number, $500 million, $1 billion into it's American jobs. We're not waiting to do testing. I have a 2-year-old son. This is going into his unformed skull, these frequencies. It's just so disheartening and just so upsetting.
Okay, well let's recap for a quick second here. So we have a new technology that we're calling 5G that is in the minds of the public is just an extension of 4G technology. It's faster bandwidth, more internet, faster internet on their cell phones and on their mobile devices. But the level of powers at which these towers will be broadcasting microwave radiation, this is easily weaponized. It can easily be used to well, not easily be used to, but it will probably hurt vegetation. It definitely will hurt people. and it could be easily weaponized into something significantly worse, including anything from mind control to basically disabling swaths of the population.
Well, my question is, what's the intensity? So it should be something measured in watts per square meter. And
Okay.
so if something, and the further you are away from the source, the intensity should be lower.
Right.
Right. And you can see, people, I think maybe Vessel and TC, I don't know if you guys are going to do it. I did get a hold of one, but it's not accurate. You can get a reader. I forget what it's called, an EMF reader. You can go up and then start taking paces away.
Yep.
And I've seen people do it, and it's they're a block away, and it's 90 gigahertz. I mean, the amount of vibrations or not, gigahertz or whatever they are, is just way over safe levels. Yeah.
And that's something that Vessel and I intend to do. We're geographically kind of close to one another. We thought we'd pool our resources and come up with a video and actually get near these towers and actually take some EMF readings, walking away from the towers and seeing approximately how far we need to get away from them before it's a quote unquote safe on the EMF scale. So
you guys do that. I know you guys are going to do that, TC and Vessel. And when you do, please, there are precautions that you can take so that you are safe. People have done that. They've gotten nosebleeds, ear bleeds. They've gotten unexplained fits of anger. So please, there are ways that you can protect yourself. In fact, I'm not really sure how to do it, but I will have Vessel put it in the text room. There's a gentleman on YouTube that Tony from Canada, I think his channel is Herbs and Beadsworks Plus, who gives ways to protect yourself again, because I don't want you guys getting hurt going out there doing this.
I appreciate that, El. And I'll take any advice I can get before we start this, but it's our intention to hit several towers around where he lives and around where I live, because they're going up pretty quick here in Missouri now, unfortunately. And I don't know that the population knows anything about the danger of these things. So I don't know that. And by the way,
not.
I'll be honest with you guys. I have no idea if the media has even touched this locally here. I just don't watch, television, and I don't read the newspaper. I've just got better things to do with my time.
I think the only people who have touched locally are us.
Yeah, I think you might be right. So, and if we find some strange readings, I have every intention of going to politicians, showing them the readings, and asking them to explain why they allowed it in the town.
And I would like that information so I can do the same here.
Yeah.
Okay, I actually just figured out how to do that. So I did go ahead and link that channel in the, I think I did it in the, yeah, I did it.
Yep, I see it.
Sorry, I'm just going to. So yeah, that'll give you guys some help on how you can protect yourself when you get up next to those towers. And really everyone should take a look at it because, and where I live, there's 4 towers within a mile and a half of my house. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I've already seen some YouTube videos where
the same way here.
Yeah, they have gates around these things that are. It's almost like, and I've seen. Well, hang on, the ones I've seen on YouTube, where they're gates that literally are about 100-foot radius. So 50 feet away from the tower, you're met by a fence. And the fence talks about dangerous levels of EMF. So I mean,
what about some lead jumpsuits?
Well, that might,
yeah, really.
That would be helpful. I think it's.
I had a weird theory about this. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's really important that that, basically, first of all, I mean, we're not done with this podcast yet, but those of you who are listening in on YouTube, we're on Discord, Truth, Money, and Freedom. And basically, if you happen to catch this on YouTube, please share this data with other people. Please share the video with others. We're going to be looking into it further too. Vessel's been looking into this for almost a year. Elle's been looking into it for quite some time as well. But this looks downright dangerous.
Yeah, yeah. I actually went up to a 5G tower, and I posted it. I'm looking for it right now, and I'm gonna go ahead and post it in there, so you can see. And you know what's crazy? The company name that's on the signage is the same signage as a fellow YouTuber. She went down there and did it in Tennessee, and it's the same company. So I was just really, really surprised to see that.
Yeah. How many corporations? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, American Man.
I was just going to ask Vessel if he could refer to some of the notes that he had about the information that he's got. Like, is it about text or technical information, specifics in different areas and stuff like that? Because I'm really curious to hear what he's got.
Well, I can read them all here towards the end if you guys like, one by one. Like I said, I wrote this down doing some research, and I got about 5 pieces of paper with jotted notes down, and it goes basically off the anywhere from the military systems and the exact frequencies that I was doing the research on. Now, mind you, I can't back this up yet because I don't have any EMF meter, but this is going by off of what a lot of people have done research in and showing me these frequencies and these towers by hand on their videos, on their website, doing their own documentation. So, but yeah, I can do that.
That'd be great.
Well, I mean, all things, being equal and everything, it just seems to me that this is so easily weaponized. So easily weaponized. Why wouldn't they?
Right.
And don't forget, guys, it was designed as a weapon. That's a fact.
Yeah,
and
military.
1 second here to please. I'm going to I just dropped a video in about a 5G tower. I got out of the car. I filmed all the signage. But I just want everybody, and I will drop my interviews in there. They took his channel down yesterday off of YouTube, both of them. His name is Mark Steele. He's from the UK. He is an expert in this field of 5G and smart technologies. He's an inventor. He's invented and has patents for over 100. He has 100 patents that he himself made. And he submits to me and everyone else that this was designed and developed as a weapon. And I've seen evidence to back it up. And it's very, very hard to believe, but it's true.
And guys, when she says expert, this guy is an expert. I'm no expert. I've only been studying and going off documents that I find, digging deeply sometimes, and on Google and other platforms, of course. But I don't have nearly the evidence this guy does yet. And so, yeah, you guys, if you want to know further research, and he's got a lot of information. So whatever he can give out now, I'd suggest you better get it while you can, because they are attacking him and trying to get him away from these platforms.
Okay, I have another question, because I'm a kind of a follow the money kind of guy. Does anyone have any information on these corporations that are putting up these towers? Is it like the same subcontracted corporation pretty much everywhere? Are there multiple corporations?
I have an idea.
Go ahead, American Man.
Well, I mean, we got AT&T, we got Verizon, especially. Am I right, Vessel? We got Comcast Cable Company. Go ahead, Vessel.
I'm glad you guys brought that up, because there's a lot of people taking videos. I got several myself, of these towers and the signs that are around the towers, the gates that are around the towers that hold these signs. And there's information and numbers to call on here. And, you know, a lot of us don't have free time to call these numbers, or we'll just overlook it, you know, but those people who are actually out there trying to make a difference, there's numbers on here. You can actually get a hold of numbers and ask questions. You can dig information out and find these companies who put the tower up, what the build, you know, where it sits at in your location or in the area. You know, you can find out all this and start digging in and making a difference.
That's a good idea.
The video that I just dropped, I do get the signage, and it's like a red A, and I believe like a black V, like American something. I'm sorry, I can't look at it right now. But that company, and there is a number. I have not called it. That's a great idea. But that same company was in a fellow YouTuber's. She got out of her vehicle and got footage of a tower, and it was the same company in Tennessee, and I'm in Pennsylvania. So I'm not saying it's all the same company, but it wasn't Comcast or AT&T. I'm not saying that they're not involved, but I'm just saying this company, the one at the Tennessee tower and the two towers up here, they're the same, and that struck me as very odd.
Yep, well, that's kind of what I was going towards, and I didn't even know that. But when you have a national concerted effort to deploy 5G across the nation, I guarantee you there's probably a very small amount of corporations that are involved in making the big money on this. I guarantee it.
Exactly.
This is the way it always is. So there's sweetheart deals, and these companies may not even know what they're putting up is going to kill people or is going to hurt them. They may not even know, but they don't care. It's all about the money for them. And for the government, they just want the technology up as quickly as possible. And I'm going by Trump's tweets. He just wants it up.
Yeah.
He doesn't, you know, it's...
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Al.
I just said it's a shame. I was just agreeing with you. I'm linking up all my interviews with Mark Steele right now. You guys gotta listen to this guy.
Gotcha. And thank you for that.
So there was a project, I remember, building a decentralized internet where you would like basically just host your own antenna.
Mm-hmm.
You would network with other people who have those antennas nearby.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the trick here is to put them out of business by not using any of their internet services or phone services, and instead, providing our own.
Well, you know, I had thoughts of that too, Craig. I was thinking about the internet kill switch when I was looking into 5G, but they already have it. But at the same time, the government would have total control over your access to DNS servers if they controlled the source of the internet, correct?
Right. That's why I'm saying we have to host our own
Yeah.
radio towers.
Yep.
I remember there was already a growing network like this. I forgot what they're called. I have to find them again. But I remember there were a number of nodes in New York City, and I could get free internet by, within the decentralized internet only, through those nodes. Now, if we could just host our own nodes and perhaps make some sort of incentivized, system where you get paid in cryptocurrency and...
Yeah, it seems to me that it might be a better idea just to leave the areas that have these 5G towers, so you could live a little bit longer, be a little bit healthier and grow your own food away from these things or something. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. And I hate to do this now, but we've actually nearly hit the hour mark. In fact, I think we just went over it. And I'd like to ask anyone if they have any final thoughts before we kind of wrap it up.
I think we should definitely...
Go ahead. No, I was going to say I would like to hear what you had accumulated as far as information.
Yeah, I can run through this real quick if you got time, everyone.
Let's go for it, Vessel.
I'm good.
All right. Well, one fun fact. Did you guys know a microwave can be weaponized? Just a microwave.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
And
You
by the way,
pop
the proof of
magnetron
this,
out.
yeah, the proof of this is the fact they actually put the actual active part of the microwave inside a Faraday cage. That means that
Yep.
that is a lethal, not necessarily lethal, but very harmful amount of radiation. They wouldn't put it in a Faraday
Exactly.
cage if it wasn't. I'm sorry for interrupting. Go ahead, Vessel.
No, I was just saying exactly. You're very on point. And to go deeper into that, besides the weaponization you can do of this microwave with just a simple little key tricks, everything pretty much is inside the microwave for you. Think about what you're doing to the food. Everybody uses a microwave nowadays to nuke this and nuke that. You know, the nuke word came from that for a reason. You're literally nuking your food. You know,
Yep,
these terms were made for a reason, and it's literally, if you look at it that way, that's what you're doing. You're nuking your food and then you're putting it in your body.
Yep, it's always been considered safe by the industry because it's considered non-ionized radiation. And that's why they considered a microwave, quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes right now, safe. It's not
Right.
plutonium or uranium, but it is still
Well,
harmful. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's very harmful. I mean, even your stove radiates heat and creates an electromagnetic force the hotter it gets. A lot of people don't know that, but even just, you know, admitting the heat in your oven, that it's dangerous. It's better than a microwave, of course, but it's still bad to a point. That's how deep this stuff really gets. Let me just jot some stuff down here. I got a whole bunch of stuff written down, so I'm going to run through it. 5G towers frequencies are megawatts, 90 billion electromagnetic waves at once.
Jeez.
Okay, this is 1,000 times stronger than your current frequencies that cell phone towers use, internet, laptops, etc. Most of these devices run at 2.4 gigahertz. That's your Wi-Fi. So that's why, like I said, it's, you know, that much stronger. You're talking 90 billion electromagnetic waves at once, way above 2.4 gigahertz. Your brain and heart functions on frequencies between 8 and 10 gigahertz. Okay. We've already discussed Israel created this 5G technology and released it, and they will be the only ones not having the towers in the area.
Yep.
Big thing right there.
Yep. Red flag.
Red
Big
flag.
And not to mention Washington D.C. will not be implementing that technology apparently.
That's right.
Go ahead, Vessel. I'm sorry.
You're good. These 5G towers will emit 90 gigahertz, 90 million electromagnetic waves per second, 24/7, around you, around your houses, around your children, daycare centers, stores, churches, you know, pretty much every public area you can possibly imagine. Not only that, you have repeaters. 95 gigahertz military has crowd control tech that uses these same frequencies for crowd control, manipulation, etc. Ferguson, I know for sure because I live here in Missouri, so that was a big thing for us. They use these exact weapons. They came in with these crowd control weapons, and it's basically a frequency it shoots. I'll get into that here in a minute, but it just stuns them, sends these pulses in your body and burns you up basically and drops you to the ground. They have these same technologies for the Pentagon. A lot of people don't know that. Get close to the Pentagon, you'll see what I'm talking about. They're called AVS systems, active denial systems. They picked up these frequencies specifically to penetrate the top 3 layers of the skin. We discussed that earlier. These waves and frequencies cannot pass through most barriers. That's why we have to have the repeaters to pass from where the main frequency is coming from, which is your 5G tower. They're going to install repeaters like pretty much what your router does. It sends the signal to like your USB stick, you know, or the Wi-Fi card built in your computer. That's what a repeater will do. These wave frequencies, I already got that. 300 microwaves per second per tower, compared to the power being pulled out by the 5G. Wait, I read that wrong. The FCC has a limit for these towers of 400 kilowatt limits per second that cannot exceed that regulation. I have not dug deeper into the FCC stuff because I don't know all the codes and regulations that they get to. But 400 kilowatts, TC, can you help me out on this?
400.
What's that compared to 90 gigahertz? How do you compare that?
That would be a ChaosCraig question. Chaos, can you help us out, buddy?
Yeah, so the gigawatt, what was your unit again? 400 kilowatt, right?
400 kilowatts is the FCC limit, is what they say.
That's how much power the thing's actually using.
So that's what it's drawing from the grid. Is that what you're saying, Craig?
Right. So that's how much electricity you're using.
Okay.
Now I hope they're not using that much power. That'd be very expensive.
It will. But the other one is the power they're emitting in the form of microwaves. Am I correct, Vessel?
No.
Yes, and this is just per tower, is what they're saying.
Okay.
That's the frequency of the electromagnetic radiation. So the power over the area would be the intensity, right? So that would be in kilowatts per square meter, and that is all a function of the distance you are away, because it projects out the radiation field in a sphere, and the further away you are, that bigger that sphere is, and so you have 400 watts of power spread over a smaller area at a so the intensity is really a function of how far away you are from that 400 kilowatt source. Is it 400 kilowatts though? It seems very high.
That's what I've seen on the FCC limit. They cannot exceed that.
So now that it seems like an astronomical number in the first place. That's like what, 0.4 megawatt. I doubt anything's going to use that much power. So yeah, that's just a limit. I'm sure it's much less. Because you'd be powering like how many homes? Thousands of homes with that much power,
I know some very powerful AM radio transmitters are 1,000 kilowatt. I'm sorry, 100,000 kilowatt is what I meant to say. There's one down in Texas. It's probably the strongest one in the United States, an AM transmitter. People pick up that station sometimes here at night. You can pick it up here in Missouri.
Wow.
So Vessel may not be far off point on that one.
Yes. So it's all about the range, but it sounded like there was going to be a lot of towers, and there were going to be, a small range per tower. And so yeah, what you're describing to me is something that has enough power to go some serious range. But it sounded like these towers are placed only a few miles apart, no?
Yes,
yeah, pretty much.
That's enough power to project the signal 3 states away. It sounds like these 5G towers are only enough power to make it half a mile to the next tower, or.
Yeah, they're placing these towers very close together. That's the whole thing. They are very close together. I don't have the number in front of me. Vessel, do you recall the number? Isn't it like
I know on the video I did, it was like not even a quarter of a mile from each tower I went to, and I did like 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah,
and that's in my town.
Yeah, it definitely can't be that much power, because that much power would be enough to project the signal a lot further than a quarter mile.
Okay,
understood. We'll have to dig into them numbers.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's really the intensity. And that's what we have that chart showing the radiation intensity versus the side effects. Now the question is, how does the frequency affect the results? Certainly you could probably do a study of the side effects versus intensity at each frequency, right? You do one study on the side effects of a 1 gigahertz signal at an intensity of, say, 1 watt per square meter, versus the effects of that same signal at 10 watts per square meter. and then you do the same study again, with higher frequency
Hmm.
and same intensity, right? So 1 watt per square meter and 10 watts per square meter of 10 gigahertz, a 10 gigahertz wave, or 20 gigahertz wave, and then compare um, that way.
Well, we know these things are putting out an enormous amount of microwave radiation. That much we do know.
Yes,
And it
they
doesn't
are.
make sense for how close they are together. But that's something we could look into for another future podcast and actually find out. And in fact, Vessel and I probably need to get together and do an actual reading, not trust someone else's, but actually use our own
Yeah.
EMF meters, to see how
Yeah,
strong
Yeah,
it is.
definitely.
awesome. That would be awesome. Just please make sure to look into that site that I dropped in and on how to protect yourself if you guys are going to be up close to the towers. Please protect yourselves.
Yeah, we can only get as close as the gates will let us because usually these things are kind of gated in. But that's
Yeah,
Well,
they
about
are.
so.
video,
But
I
we
put
will
a
definitely
video
take
up.
precautions.
I was pretty close, so you can get very close. I posted a video of the one I went to, and I was very close. So
What amazes me is all the ones I see out in the country on private. And the only reason I get to see, I don't carry the phone on me no more, but I'm doing a service call or whatever, and I'll go out to the countryside, and there'll be a big old tower sitting out in these people's yard. I'm like, how the hell did this happen? But I'm on work. I can't just sit there and interview somebody. So
Yep, understood. Okay, anyone else? Any final thoughts here before we kind of start wrapping her up?
not right now, and I definitely like to do it again. I'll be digging some more research up, and we'll be getting together soon. So
Yep, we'll do another podcast when we have some more information. I am Vessel and myself, Timmy Chonga, will be getting together in real life for a meetup to actually do some readings on these towers.
Yeah, so get the intensity at a bunch of different distances.
Yep, yep. We'll measure and then we'll take readings. So that was our intention.
I would I can't wait because I know you guys have been planning that, and you're it will be accurate and a trusted source. But I do have one thing to say in closing. I would be remiss if I didn't. I would just encourage anybody that listens to this podcast to join the Discord so that you could see all the information that everyone on this podcast has posted, because this is a crime against humanity, and I'm not being dramatic. So please do your own research. Come to Truth, Money, Freedom's Discord and look at the links that are there, and educate yourself and start local. I've been to my town hall. I'm going back, and that's what we have to do. And that's all I have to say in closing. You got to start local, and it can be stopped. It can be. You got to start local.
Yep. Thank you very much, Ellie, for that. And I'd like to say a special thank you to American Man Ellie 1978 and I Am Vessel, who are all YouTubers. And we will have all of their channels linked up in the description section. For those of you who see the video, please subscribe to these channels. These guys are putting out very good information. And I'd like to thank ChaosCraig for being with us today, and also yours truly, Timmy Chonga, who are on the Discord server and also have our own YouTube channel, Truth, Money, and Freedom Podcast. Thank you for spending some time with us. I didn't realize it would run this long, but I hope that you listened to the end, got all that information, especially going on to the data that ChaosCraig was talking about. With basically, there's a mathematical equation for it, and that's distance from it. And as the sphere of energy grows, it dissipates. So, but Vessel and I are going to test that. We're going to find out sometime in the near future, and we'll actually have a video of us testing that, and we'll share that with all of you. But thank you once again for being with us. We do appreciate your time. Again, we are Truth, Money, and Freedom. Our Discord link is in the description section below. Have a pleasant evening.